What's happening, guys? In this video, I'm uploading my panel discussion from Affiliate World Bangkok, in which we discuss the latest and greatest strategies for Google Ads. Well, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. Affiliate World Bangkok is always a special place in my heart. Very excited to be here together with amazing panelists. My journey started somewhere completely different. I come from consulting. I fell in love with Google Ads at Google just because I find the idea mind-boggling that you can put $1,000 into a tool and get back $5. I've been doing it for 7 years now. I'm the founder of Cyrus Digital, one of the leading boutique agencies in the D2C space. I also co-own an e-com brand. And I really hope to share with you some of the techniques that are really hot right now, some opportunities for affiliates in the push area, in the area of advertorials. And yeah, very excited to be here today.
All right, thank you, Aryan. So next to Aaron, we have Ashish. Ashish is a very successful, what I would consider a Google affiliate, and has had great success in not only with Google, but in a portfolio of different kinds of traffic sources.
Hello everyone, I'm Ashish, founder and CEO of Verify, a marketing agency based in Dubai. Me and my team have been running ads on Google, Meta, and native over the last 8 years. And my passion is to bring data-driven strategies with creative ideas to get better results. And that's where I think our edge is. And I'm super excited to be here with all of you, share my insights and learn from you.
And Shrey is our guest of honor from Google. He's actually assigned to the affiliate community, but talk a little bit about your position.
Yeah, so
and
thanks, Yancy, and thanks everyone for being here. I think I'm very excited. It's my second time being here at AW and first time as a part of a panel. So at Google, I think we've now started understanding the industry better. We know that affiliates have been using Google as a traffic source since a long time, of course. But largely, whatever sort of support you were probably getting from Google was more from a brand's perspective or a non-affiliate perspective. But we've now sort of been forming specialist teams across the account management teams at Google and trying to understand the industry better, trying to get to understand your different verticals better, and then provide support. So us being here is sort of a testament to that.
Okay, great. And like I said, my name is Yancy Naughton. I'm the founder of Has Traffic. It's a more or less a non-Google traffic source, so it's kind of interesting that they asked me to panel it from that perspective. But I think Google, I've done a lot of speeches about this topic over the years. I always introduce Google but by giving them their due. They're literally the greatest advertising network that's ever been created. And I like to say that second place is so far behind that it's not even relevant to talk about it. No, and he didn't pay me to say that, but it's obvious. Like I've been in the advertising industry for almost 40 years, and I've never seen anything that has this reach or this command of the market and the command of obviously search. But we're going to talk today about more than search and some of the other new things that are kind of competing with Meta and with let's say TikTok as well. So so these wouldn't be the next questions that I would go to, but this one I would give to Shrey. Like, how can an affiliate who is successful using other channels of traffic, how should they go about trying to crack the code? Should they go in full bore like they did with some other channels, or what's the practice?
So no, I think it's important to understand which vertical you want to focus on and which Google product would sort of work best for that. Earlier in the day we were discussing demand gen, right? I think that is the hottest topic, the hottest product right now, which is working very, very well for high impulse categories, right? So while we know search is a product which works best for high intent categories where someone is already searching for something, for high impulse buying categories where you don't know whether you want this product or not, but if you look at a very, very visually appealing ad, you probably will buy it. That is where certain other platforms were sort of having more products as compared to Google, but demand gen is sort of right up there. So I think understanding your vertical and what product would fit in. So let's say, for example, if you're looking at a very, very high intent category, you found a very cool new product which a lot of people in a particular country are searching for, and you see that there is already existing search volume which is not being capitalized on. Then probably you start with search and you try to get that traffic to your site and sell your product. But let's say if the product that you want to sell does not have inherent intent, then probably you use products like demand gen, GDN, etc., where you are showing up your ads through beautiful creatives at the right places across Google inventories like YouTube and others, and you want that user to sort of give you a great CTR and finally convert. So depends on the vertical. So
yeah, Aryan, you had a great example when we were talking backstage about a good match for demand gen. So.
Yeah, so generally speaking, demand gen is a very interesting topic in the Google space, and this is particularly relevant for anyone that's currently using push channels for affiliate marketing, whether you're using Meta, whether you're using native, anything that's creative driven. Demand gen is really, really something you want to capitalize on. And I want to zoom out here a little bit to explain to you why. Few years ago when TikTok ads started running, or even before that when Meta started going heavy on ads, we had a very short time window where the traffic was much, much cheaper, CPMs were crushing, and you could really get really, really, really good return. Now we've seen, as of the latest platform, TikTok, that window kind of closed, the CPMs went higher, and the same thing is currently happening in the Google space. So demand gen, how you need to think about it, is basically mainly a YouTube Shorts format, right? That's where the biggest power of it lies. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to challenge the monopoly that Meta has on push traffic. So if you are running affiliate ads on Meta, then you should really consider doing demand gen, because what we see is that over 50% of winning creatives on Meta, they actually crush on demand gen. And it's as easy as taking your top creatives, converting them to demand gen format, which are really, really similar to Meta, and just running that ad. And in most cases, you will see an increase of about 20 to 30% in revenue because it's that powerful. So just to zoom out a little bit, I think everyone who is got any sort of setup that's push heavy, definitely consider doing demand gen.
So when he's saying push heavy, he's not talking about push traffic. He's talking about pushing the
push
user,
channels.
Yeah, pushing it, the product towards the user.
More of impulse buying versus intent, right? If I get that right.
Correct.
I love impulse buying, right? Like, so that speaks to us. So let's put some products to these channels. So Ashish has really been in the space. Give some examples. Yeah.
If you want to scale any campaign, you need to reach your audience before they even know they need your product. I think that bridges demand gen bridges that gap. That's Google created this product. So it's like from discovery to conversion within all the Google's own inventory, and that's working very well for us in Europe, in US. We started trying this 6 months ago, and it's now our top traffic source. So yeah,
your top traffic source.
It's working very well for us.
And what's the product that you're promoting?
We are promoting digital products and nutraceuticals on demand gen, and it's working well.
Excellent, excellent. So how friendly is Google towards these Nutra products? Is this something that you want to see more of?
Yeah, so I mean, we have very well-defined policies that I would recommend all the affiliates who are running ads to read before starting up. So I think there are interesting, so the policy goes very deep, right? What we've sort of observed is that is the part that affiliates miss out on before starting a campaign, right? So if you look at healthcare as a category, there are actually publicly available lists on the Google ad policy help sections that tell you what keywords under healthcare or what categories or what medicines or whatever you can't do, right? So, but I don't know if a lot of people usually go and check all of that stuff.
I don't think they do. I think I think they think it's like the terms and conditions of their iPhone, and they just kind of get right past it. But you're saying, dig deep.
I would like to add, it's better to read policies. I know it's boring, but it's better than waking up and seeing your ad account is suspended, all your traffic is gone. So it's better to just read policies.
So we have some questions prepared for that, but let's get to that right now because it's a good segue to it. how do we avoid the bans? How do people obviously start with the terms and conditions, start with the rules of good and best practices, but how do you really avoid?
Yeah, so I think probably two parts to it, right? One, what we've seen is a lot of campaigns usually lack a lot of basic hygiene, right? So it starts at the very time you create your first account and campaign. So the basic hygiene in terms of using a corporate email ID, establishing your credibility as a genuine advertiser, right? All of that is very important. We know that in the affiliate industry, you would have multiple companies across different countries, but from a platform perspective, are you coming across as a credible advertiser? I think that is where the journey starts. Once that is sorted, we move on to understanding policy better. Like I said, across these different verticals, the policy is very, very nuanced. So we need to understand and upskill ourselves like very regularly as affiliates.
Very nuanced. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So I think these two things are majorly what we probably need to focus on in terms of policy. Another important thing I like to mention is the entire user journey, right? So when you're running ads, it's not just what is happening in your campaigns and an account that matters. You know, the team could actually look at what is the entire user journey. Where are you sending this traffic to? And let's say, for example, who owns the domain where you're sending traffic to, right? That's an important factor.
Yeah, I would actually add to that, Shrey, because you see, we're all very familiar with ad account bans and all these policy problems. But what I would add is that where Meta is a proper black box, right? If your Meta account gets banned, you have no clue what happened. You cannot read up what happened. It's just, hey, you violated something. And it's so intangible and it's frustrating, right? Because, again, this is our livelihood. But the big difference with Google is that Google policy is super detailed. It's very, very detailed. And for every vertical, for every product type, there are very, very specific guidelines. So if you have an offer that's crushing and you're trying to replicate on Google and it's not working, you get suspended, I encourage you to look for that very specific policy that talks about your product. Make sure it's in line, contact support, send them a screenshot, hey, I am adhering to this, unban me. And you will see that this will work wonders for you because Google in that sense is much easier to understand and much easier to reconcile.
So that's really nice to hear from someone who's succeeded for a very long time in this space. But you were also mentioning being knowledgeable not only about who owns the domains and things like that, but the policies. Maybe you go into the conversation not expecting someone to pick up the phone and saying, this is what you did wrong, but saying, you know, starting with the policies and coming to them, figuring out what they might have thought was wrong with the product and presenting them with how you were compliant. Is that a best practice?
So I think in a lot of cases, you would get signals in the account, right? So let's say in a lot of cases, suspension would probably follow a disapproval. So when you get an ad disapproval, you get a very clear reason of why the ad has been disapproved, and you can just go and read that policy in the account itself. So that is one. Second, I think what a lot of affiliates also miss out is what they're doing on the lander or what they're doing on the site or the advertorial, like we were just discussing, right? Something which is picking up. Basic stuff like a very clear affiliate disclosure on the page, right? Wherein you are actually calling out to the user that we are not the end brand which is servicing this product or service to you. We are actually a mediator. We will be paid commissions for whatever we are doing. That is something which is very basic and must be there, right? So let's say things like affiliate disclosures, privacy policy if you're taking user data. So Google, I think, takes all of those things very, very seriously. So the quality of the site really matters, not just what you're doing in the account. So you may be doing everything right in the account, but the landing page is very bad quality and not user-friendly. And then you're left wondering why our account got banned. So that is also an important factor to consider.
Ashish, give us some real-world examples of that.
I would like to add, as all affiliates use pre-landers, so it's important to have privacy policy, clear refund policy, and disclosure of being an affiliate to that product. It's very important. Then you will face much less issues, and it's also important to be truthful, not deceit like your users. Google is all about providing the best quality to the user. So if your landing page is good, you will see lower CPCs. At the end, you will make more money. Like by being compliant, you can make way more money than doing shady stuff, I think.
Right. So maybe what worked in other channels is not going to work in Google, and you're going to have a better experience than you would have in Meta because you have someone to basically communicate with. The presence of a affiliate manager here on stage at Affiliate World is, I think, really awesome. You want to add to that? Ariane, you were mentioning that you thought that was a really great thing.
Yeah, 100%. Again, like I mentioned, I encourage everyone just to review the policies specifically for your product. They're very, very detailed, and as long as you adhere to them, it will allow you to have a much more uninterrupted experience. So yeah, that's my advice there.
All right, great. So how about the GMC ban? Do you want to speak to that and how to avoid it?
Yeah, so it's most of the things are like similar to a regular account ban, right? So for GMC, some specific things that you need to care about is consistency in whatever product feeds that you have. Are you entering complete information about your product, all attributes correctly? Do you have a proper like returns and refunds policy? Very important for all e-commerce sort of sites. It's just establish credibility of the site is, I think, what I'd like to again and again push on. So on a lighter note, I've seen product pages having testimonials from a John Doe, right? So that is something which you should, of course, avoid. So
yeah, well, yeah, there's John Doe's and there's guys who've been testimonials for decades that are still up on these sites, which really don't help your case, right? So other than that,
just one before I close this point. So I think whatever business information you're providing on the account, whether it is for GMC or it is for a regular ads account, needs to be absolutely consistent. So your paying entity for the account needs to match your advertiser verification. That's the new thing that everyone has to do, and that ideally has to match the location where you're sending traffic to. That is a clean sort of user journey, which should definitely work.
And how many accounts? Like how long have you been doing the affiliate angle here at Google?
Hello.
So I've been at Google since 3 years, but since the last.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Is it audible?
I think over a year now, we've been sort of
Hello.
focusing a lot in the affiliate space, specifically in APAC, across other markets like US, EMEA as well. So we do we are a team of 3 for India. There's 1 POC each for China, SEA as well. We have reps from US here as well. So all of us would at any point of time be handling, let's say, maybe 20 to 30 odd partners.
And we're talking about the attrition rate. So to get 20 successful accounts, how many are you going to onboard?
Again, so the setup to scale up rate would depend on vertical to vertical, but we've seen if let's say 100 advertisers start, typically 30 to 40 would scale with us.
I wish we had those ratios. It has traffic, but that's pretty significant amount of people. So I think a lot of people are trepidatious about jumping in both feet with Google, and I think that's a very positive statistic to look at. So let's talk about tracking for a minute. You brought up the topic. So how do you track Google, and how do you track maybe a blend of different traffic sources? And
so as an affiliate, I would say data is your best friend if you want to do well. So for Google, it's good to use Google Tag Manager, and then because affiliates use pre-lenders, so it's good to have offline conversion tracking with APIs. There are some of very good affiliate trackers. We personally use RedTrack. You can track RedTrack.
Yeah, okay.
And you can track all your marketing channels there, not just Google. That's the best part. And I would like to add, don't just look at the numbers, see the reason why behind the patterns. Look at the patterns, then you can scale way more.
Yeah, if you have data, let's talk about it, right? So you need the data all in one place. You need it in a way that you can act on it.
Yeah,
and
that's where affiliate tracker comes in. So again, we use RedTrack for that, and it's been working very well for us. And there are many others, so affiliates can use any they like. It's not just one.
And Arian, how are you tracking? What products are you using?
Well, I think we've reached a point where advertisers have become very sophisticated and understand the importance of tracking. Obviously, third-party tracking is crucial to understand. your performance across different ad channels, especially if you're on a 7, 8, or even verging onto 9-figure level, definitely you should scrutinize all your numbers from all different channels. I think this is becoming particularly more important with the rise of things like, for example, advertorials. We've seen that increase a lot lately. I think Ashish, you're using them as well. And they're really an amazing tool for any affiliate offer. And the reason being is the difference of using advertorials on Meta as opposed to Google is that on Google you have such a tremendous amount of search volume that nearly any question you can conceive, there is a certain search volume for it, right? So say, for example, your product serves a very specific problem within the pain niche, right? Specific problem, specific age group, specific demographic, location, all of that. There will be a certain amount of search volume very consistently for that, right? It might be only 200, 300, 400 searches per month. Those tend to be in much, much higher awareness stages where there's a lot less competition. So if you've been running Google search and you haven't had success with it, I highly encourage you to use advertorials. And the beauty of it is they will work for a very, very long time, because if you're able to convert that search intent once, it's very likely that it will work over very long periods of time, and it will compound over time as you release more advertorials. And this is where tracking becomes very, very important. And you need to make sure you need to have your data layers in place, and you need to make sure to pass in the data correctly. Otherwise, you can lose data. So I would say the way the industry is developing, having clean tracking is becoming more and more important, because the new forms of advertising heavily relying on it.
You brought up advertorials, which should be big to everybody in this room. What kind of Google traffic would you be aiming towards? Obviously, the search has its own niche. You have to wait for people to search it. But like Aryan said, it's once you conquer those fields, they stay conquered for a little while compared to other traffic channels. So maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, I think it. Firstly, it's working really well, this format, and I think it depends on the nature of your site. Like, let's say, for example, if you have a comparison site to compare products across a vertical or services, in fact, right, and you already know that there is high intent for this category or there is high intent for these products, then you probably go in for something like a search where people have the intent, want to actually read up and learn more about these products, and then end up taking a decision. On the contrary, let's say if you have a product which is seasonal and you just want to sell that product for a period of time, and it's, again, like I said, an impulse purchase, that is when you probably use a product like Demand Gen, right? Where you have very visually appealing creatives. You're putting them up across YouTube, across similar inventories, and then you get the person to the page and finally ends up converting. In this case, like Ashish mentioned earlier, right? The user was not actually searching for that product. The user didn't know that I actually need it, but that is when you sort of come up and convert.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, actually, Shrey. The way you need to think about advertorials in combination with Google Ads is this. So say, for example, you're running a pain product, right? We've all seen these like neck crackers, pillows, whatever, like they've been going on everywhere, right? So say you're selling that and you're trying to sell it with a classical search campaign. What type of keyword would you use? You'd use something like best neck pain product or best neck cracking pillow. Now, that traffic is going to be extremely expensive because there's so much competition around it. Everyone selling that, doing Google Ads, is going to target that, right? Intent keywords. Now, the thing is, it's going to be very expensive, very competitive, and it's going to be difficult to convert, because once the user is at that awareness stage, right, this guy's already looking to buy. He already made up his mind. He's looking for the best product. So if you're not the cheapest, it's going to be very, very difficult, because at that point, in those low awareness stages, it becomes a price battle. Now, here's the thing. Say instead of targeting best neck pillow, neck cracker, whatever, you target a much higher, much more upper funnel query, like, I'm a man, 40 years old, I have neck pain, what to do? Now, if you take that, you can create an advertorial around it that explains to the user why your particular product is perfect for him. You can amplify the pain points, you can understand and basically answer the search intent in a much, much better way that goes beyond just pricing. And I think that's the beauty of it, and that's why I would encourage everyone here to start using it, because Once you crack it, it will work for a very long time.
Yeah. Advertorials are more like storytelling, information, and selling the product at same time. To users, it doesn't feel like it's an ad. It's more
Precisely.
like, and that's why for us also, it's working best for search ads when we are using it since last 5 years. Yeah.
I have an interesting question for you, Ashish. So obviously, so the standard go-to advertorial that everyone uses first time round is the listicle, right? Best so-and-so, and then you rank them all. And I think that's been working for a lot of people. But what other type of angles or what other type of advertorials do you see working really well?
What we see is storytelling, like it's someone's personal story, how this product worked for them, kind of like a UGC, but in form of text.
Right.
And it works really well for us.
Gotcha. So telling a story, hey, I had this issue, then I got this product, this helped me.
Yeah, that's
okay, amazing. Do you mind me asking, what type of conversion rates do you get on these types of landing pages?
3 to 5% right now.
Okay. All right. And the CPC difference, like what's the difference between the CPC with those campaigns and classic search campaigns, the high intent?
So CPC is way lower. The reason is advertorial is big and our landing page score gets above average rank. And I think it's super important for any affiliate to have good ad rank. That's when your CPC will be lower and you will make good ROAs.
That's the way you need to think about it. This is an advertising tool that can easily give you a conversion rate of 5%. I've seen as high as 8%, and CPCs that can be up to 50% lower. So it's an opportunity. It's a time window that will close eventually. So definitely something to get on top of.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that's a good point. It's kind of fresh powder. It's not that fresh a powder, but it's kind of fresh powder. And how do you make money on it? You make money on it now. You don't wait till everybody else does it and try to duplicate what they're doing. And that's the best practice for anyone in this room buying any kind of traffic. So let's talk about updates, and let's talk about figuring out how to get something right on Google, and then one day there's an update and you don't know what happened, but there's got to be best practice for affiliates who are successful in Google to stay ahead of these. So, Ashish, Ashish, can you speak to that?
I believe change is the only constant in life, and that's same with Google. Like there's always updates, and if you stay updated, you are doing better. You will do better than your competitors, and there are also some exciting updates, not the bad ones only, like AI. The new targeting with
they don't
demand
get the press that the bad ones do.
But with AI, it's doing really well. The targeting, you don't really have to do anything, just smart bidding, let your campaigns run. You can scale way faster. You can test tens of product every day rather than working a week to just create one campaign. So some updates we love, and of course there are many updates which are not good for you, but overall I think it's good.
Shrey, you want to add?
I think it's all about staying completely updated with product and policy. I think these are the two important factors for being successful on Google, right? You understand what are the new products being launched and what is their objective. Like what does Google say is why should you use and when should you use that particular product? Like we were talking about demand gen and search and PMax. So let's say PMax and demand gen are the two like newer AI enabled products that we have, but the key difference is that PMax skews towards search a bit, whereas demand gen doesn't have that. And like he said, search is expensive. So do that only when you have a high intent audience already. Do that only when you probably have high AOV products or when you have higher payouts, right? If you have like a $5 payout, the search CPC itself could be so high that you can't do much about it, right? So I think that is definitely a factor. In terms of policy, every quarter, or in fact I would say every month, there are policy updates. There are some very positive ones as well in terms of, let's say, verticals like crypto, etc., opening up in certain countries.
Yeah.
So just stay updated with them. Like understand what are the prerequisites. Don't just start accounts and then start reading a policy once you face an issue. I would recommend start with the policy first and then decide what you want to run.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It's good to build your foundation on staying compliant and focus on user journey, then you can scale way faster.
Yeah, I think a lot of affiliates have had success outside of Google complying when they had to, as opposed to complying as putting that forward, putting that cart before the horse, or whatever, however you want to look at that. How many people does it take to have a successful affiliate team for Google?
So we have a team of 5, but I would say with AI now, even a single affiliate can do really well and then build a team. But AI, we are now like AI first agency, I would say, and even we have a platform for AI. We connected it with Google's Ads API. I just ask a question and it returns all the data. I need to post a campaign. I just ask post a campaign and it's post. I don't even need to go to Google like for that. So that's something everyone should look into, I think.
Aryan, Cyrus Media, how big is the team?
We're 20 people now at Cyrus, with the brand combined 35 to 40 people. I have a slightly different take. So the way that we operate is similar on Meta, where you have a creative strategist and you got a media buyer and you got an account manager, etc. We kind of like to mimic that. So the way we work is my favorite position within the Google team is the account strategist, right? So you want to have someone that's been working with Google Ads for many years across many different projects and has experience. And also, media buying is you know, to a certain extent is also feeling based, right? You have a feeling for when you need to increase the budget. So take someone very, very senior, put them in a strategy position, right? This guy's only in charge to tell you, okay, this is how you're going to get this account from A to B. I don't think you want to have that person executing, because those people tend to be lazy, right? When someone's
true.
very high paid and very experienced, they tend to be lazy. So you want to have someone, a strategist, and then you want to have someone who's really, really strong. You know, typically we use a professional with like 3 to 5 years experience, and that is the person executing, right? And when you have that combination of someone really experienced, just understands the bigger picture, how do I get from A to B, and just keeps the goals inside, and then you got someone to execute, that tends to be a very good combination. And I would add to that, you want to have a technical person on board as well. Like, you don't want to have,
for tracking especially.
100%. Like, if you have, you know, free advertorials with VSLs and pre-sale pages and God knows what, you don't want to have your media buyer trying to fix tracking, right? You need someone who understands that, who's more technical, feed optimization, all these things. So for me, a good Google team and a good Google account always consists of top-tier strategist, really strong media buyer, and very precise technical expert. And that's how we run it.
And what about the compliance? Whose job is that? To stay ahead on the compliance. Is that more of the strategy side, or is that more of the technical side?
Well, I think everyone should be aware of compliance. And it depends on if you look at it from an agency perspective or an affiliate perspective. But by the time that the actual fulfillment, the actual media buying team is handling the account, everything on policy and compliance should already be done, right? You shouldn't onboard an account, or you shouldn't start an offer or a product where you don't know what needs to be done in order to stay live. So that is sort of pre-start. And you know, if you talk in agency context, this is sales. If you're talking affiliate context, then you know, whoever decides on the new offer. But this is sort of a prerequisite, I would say.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have. But where do we find you to pepper you with more questions, Trey?
I'll be around today, tomorrow. We also have a Google networking mixer tomorrow at 1. So
okay,
happy
tomorrow
to see you guys there.
Everybody, and Ashish.
I will be here, both days, so anyone can ask questions.
And we're House Traffic. We're giving out water, and we have a booth here as well. So thank you very much for your time. A round of applause for our wonderful guests.
Thank you.
Thanks.